I'm on my single-cylinder Royal Enfield motorcycle on the Great North Road at Eaton Socon, near St Neots in Cambridgeshire. This old and historic road at this point was bypassed by the A1 in 1971. Eaton Socon's coaching inns once provided food, lodgings and a change of horses to travellers on the stagecoaches between London and York. And similar hospitality, minus the horses of course, was offered to cyclists and motorists with the revival of road transport at the end of the 19th century. I started off just next to the Crown, an old coaching inn, and I'm sorry I should have turned to get it into camera shot. Coming up on the left is a Kentucky Fried Chicken restaurant, the KFC sign coming up on the left, and here once stood another coaching inn, the Bell. This road, or this stretch of road, was once part of the Biggleswade to Alconbury Turnpike, founded in 1725, and that particular turnpike trust was one of the earliest turnpikes to be established. Later, this stretch of road, along with the rest of the Great North Road, was redesignated as the A1. That happened in the 1920s, marking it as the foremost road of the realm. There's a timber-framed building coming up on the left, a white painted one, and I've seen in a 1939 film that it once had Tea House as a sign on its wall at the side. I'd like to bet that was once an old coaching inn in bygone times. And here on the left is a famous old coaching inn called Ye Olde White Horse. This inn has provided hospitality to passers-by since the 1200s, which is mind-boggling and says so much about the historical importance of this road. And what a wonderful photograph this is. It was taken in the late 1800s or early 1900s, looking back at the route I've just followed. I'm interested in what I've coined elsewhere as the transition era, when these old roads and inns fell into decline due to the rise of the steam railway network, and when they began to revive again, prompted by the return of traffic to the roads, firstly in the form of cyclists, then as motorists. This road on the photograph is not yet tarmacked and harks back still to the turnpike era that ended only 15 years before, and I've blown up part of the photograph to see the signs for Vacuum Motorcar Royals, Shell Motor Spirit and Pratt Spirit hung from the hotel wall. Presumably these were sold from cans, there being no pumps to be seen. The White Horse promotion to cyclists and motorists captures the era in which the roads were beginning to recover from the steam era doldrums. And cyclists come before motorists in this promotion, suggesting that the greater volume of business came from the pedalling travellers. This must place the photograph very early in the motoring era, sometime around 1900. And here are a couple of photographs from the 1920s. And you'll see in the next one an Esso petrol pump to the right of the inn. It's hard to tell whether the road is tarmacked or not. I think possibly not. And in this roadside scene from the 1960s, everything becomes more recognisably modern. This shot was taken not long before the A1 eventually bypassed the old inn back in 1971. Imagine, even in the 1960s, the amount of heavy traffic thundering through here. Whilst no longer selling petrol, the old inn remained to provide motorists with rest, food and accommodation. And this old inn is still serving ale and food to this day, but its role of providing hospitality to passers-by on the busy A1 is a distant memory. So it's back to riding the rest of this historical stretch of road. And coming up the white painted building on the left is the former wheat sheaf. A public house on the roadside, now a residential property. The Old Sun comes up next. Just after the fence on the left, the old white painted building, an old coaching inn. And on the right, again, another white painted building, the Wagon and Horses. its name redolent of the trade it served in days gone by. What an evocative stretch of old road this is. What stories it can tell about the historical journeys undertaken along its length, the stagecoach era, the first cyclists and early motoring era, all are evoked by this stretch of the Great North Road, the old A1. So many inns to serve the travellers, many no doubt lost, and some perhaps I've overlooked. And my old-style single-cylinder motorcycle just suited to this sort of road. Indeed, it was probably designed for roads like this back in the last century. And there to the left, to end my ride along this ancient highway, is yet another roadside inn, the George and Dragon. And there's a fork in the road ahead, and at that point I'm leaving the Great North Road to turn right towards the bridge across the River Great Ouse at St Neots, and then on to Cambridge. For now, I'm done.